Yes.
And I shall now request Sarika to speak. Dr. Sarika, can you briefly tell us of what you represent as a college, and who the students are, of what disciplines that is, and why you believe they will learn something from this series, including today's session. Yes, please.
Yes, sir. So myself, Sarika, I am the Dean of Jmohanco Uttarakhand University from Bhoomi School of Architecture, Planning and Design. So we are running the courses which are over here: Bachelor's in Design, Bachelor's in Architecture, Master's in Planning. So in Bachelor's in Design, we have interior design, product design, graphic design, UI, UX design, and fashion design. These are the courses which we are running in BDES, and then we have BR courses. And then again, with the university, we have BTech civil courses also, and mechanical also. So we have the entire engineering and other departments. So as far as if I talk about the series of the lectures which are being conducted by PJMT, and we signed an MOU with PJMT some time back, I definitely believe in a way that these seminars are very, very interactive. And the way the students also learn a lot from the expert speakers, those who are there, the panelists, those who are here, and moreover, the kind of topics that are being covered in this particular lecture series. So these topics are actually and it is a demand of the industry. So it is very important when we are talking about in sync with the national education policy, which is there, and 2020. And we are just trying to make a blend of education, which is online, offline education, learning from the speakers through these modes of online mode, and taking these things forward in our studios, in our classes, and having one-to-one sessions with the students, and the offline basis, which we are doing after learning from these series, and our faculty also getting an exposure to learn, to listen from these speakers, which they are not able to do in an offline mode, and are not able to go out from their own cities and all. So this is something, a very good opportunity for everybody to learn and interact with all the panelists and all the speakers.
Wonderful, so lovely, and that you captured, all the critical 4 points. Demand of industry being met by the series, in sync with the new education policy, of course it is, and this blend of education. We spoke about it even when we met at the Congress, I think briefly, on how such things have to, and you heard so many of those speakers at the Congress. I'm sure there was a very major takeaway for you, during that session itself, right? It must have been. Khader, you heard Dr. Sarika, she's on the hills. She's from Uttarakhand. Khader, what your expectations are, what you have heard at the Congress, and what you believe your students will gain from this program, Professor Khader?
Yes.
I know you're young, head of department. Yes.
Sir, our expectation is to at least they need to refill what is the gap between the academics to the industry, and what is the world demand from the civil engineering in perspective of the global environmental change and sustainability. Actually, the awareness must come to the engineers what they need to do in respect of designing, with respect to whatever they are practicing in upcoming life. And this awareness program is definitely help for our college, our society, definitely for the world also. So this kind of programs is also for our students with respect to the knowledge.
Right. Absolutely. You're right about, the global context of sustainability and of this connect between industry and academia. In fact, Mr. Jaimni Uberoi represents a company which is as old as India, I think, if I'm right. When was it started, your company?
1949.
1949. 2 years, just 2 years younger than India. 73-year-old company, and he represents knowledge that his predecessors have carried in the company. He has executed some very, very exquisite projects, and he shall be showing us some things today of that. Yatin, if you are ready, we can see the film now, or we can do it after Mr. Uberoi presents, and we can now request him to share his screen. I will leave the call to you now.
Yeah,
Yes?
Dr. Jaimni can present right now.
Yes. Right. Please do.
Should I commence?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Professor Sarika, Kader, and I wonder if Professor
Yes, please.
is joined us, but I'm sure she has. Good afternoon, everyone. My learned friend, all the wisdom he possesses, the series curator, Dr. Hariharan, Payal, who's the founder member, and I just heard Sandeep is also listening to us right now. All the faculty members, I don't know, I just narrated that about 180, 200 of them, wonderful. Kader, you are representing about 1,800 students, and I don't know about Dr. Sarika, must be about 3,000, 4,000. I feel honored to be speaking on Dr. Prem Jain's distinguished lecture series. He's our leader, he's our mentor, he's our guru. It is most coincidental that the topic which has been chosen today, blending traditionalism with modern engineering, that I'm speaking on, well, it was basically the traditional forms of construction when I had first met Dr. Jain in the year 1995 at the Uberoi Rajvilas. That's about 27 years of journey. He was heading Spectral, one of the finest MEP consultant firms, and we are involved with the civil construction. Well, these 27 years has been drive from Dr. P.C. Jain to all his associates to our organization, IGBC, to get us all into a network, a web. And at every step, he has led the way. I can never forget his brilliant smile always. The Uberoi Rajvilas, now would someone show it, or just, I don't know how do we? Yatin, would you show the picture of the Uberoi Rajvilas?
Sure. We can either share, or your colleague can help you share. Whichever way. Yatin, can you help? Yeah.
Okay. Now this is one of.
Put it on view
Yatin,
mode.
please. Now this is Yatin. Show the other slides also. Hold on. Yeah, the other one also. Next one. Yeah, this one. Now this is the entrance of the Uberoi Rajvilas, and as you see, it looks like an ancient fort. This particular, it's the main reception of the hotel with the restaurants and all that. And it's absolutely a fort-like structure. It comprises of hard steel and concrete underneath it. It's about 25, 27 feet deep inside the ground, because there was a basement and there was a ground floor and the first floor. There's a moat all around. And that's what was the idea of that time, to provide with modern construction, a typical old age Uberoi Rajvilas, which was termed as one of the finest hotels in that era in the world, and amongst, and later on also as the 3 best hotels, luxury hotels in the world. What you see in front is the main fort, as I repeated, and the others are all the pavilions, the round pavilions and the entrance pavilions and the tall pavilions, which are always in a fort or in an old fort. Now, another slide, Yatin, these are the turrets, as you see, and just underneath the turrets on the last, and you see on the last turret, there's a dome-like appearance. Well, that used to be from the point of view of putting guards up there on top, and right underneath that is a moat which goes all around the fort. Next, please. These are the guest rooms. Now, as you see in the guest rooms, they're all plastered surfaces. The fort was not plastered. I forgot to mention. Sorry, the fort was plastered, but it was not lime washed. It was left to rusting, to oxidation, so that it gives the appearance, the black appearing on the top, so that it gives an appearance of an old fort. But of course, as you see now, the guest rooms, they are all plastered. The unique, the guest room, even all these chhajas that you see, the curved chhajas and the windows curved, this thing, the entrance pavilion, the kungaras on top and the bottom, everything is an RCC structure. But on top of it, we have finished it with lime. Now, this is for the curved domes, so semicircular chhajas. The application of plaster was as per the old techniques. That was very unique. In fact, even in 1995, we had forgotten the old techniques. It was my late father who had been in construction ever since 49, and even before that, for that matter, in Pakistan, told us how to go about it. The lime was obtained from underground kilns in the form of aggregates, large aggregates of boulders. These were then placed into a tank and watered. They were left to water for about ideally 12 hours, ideally overnight, but 10 to 12 hours. And very soon, there would be the calcification of lime would begin, and there will be fumes coming out of these ponds. After overnight of leaving the lime in the water and mixing it with long handled tagari or long handled implements, the next day we would add surki, S-U-R-K-H-I. Surki is a red colored granular fine quarry waste that would be mixed. The lime which was made would flow into another tank, and that other tank, surki would be mixed into it. And then comes the most amazing part. All this mixture would then be transferred to a buffalo animal mill, which was about a foot in width and about a foot in depth. The oxen or the camel, the buffaloes or the camel were tied with a huge balli or a wooden jack, and that will be around. They would go round and round, round and round, in order to make a very fine paste out of this lime surki mortar. Well, Raj Vilas was a 5 million square foot project, and we thought, let's use a lime mill. Why not? Modern age, we used it. It was catastrophic. It was an absolute catastrophe, because with a mill, the grinding takes place soon, but that doesn't solve the purpose at all, because the lime really does not calcinicate. It takes a much longer time so that the pores open up, and we had to resort back to the lime grinding with the old way it was done with black buffaloes and camels. We had to put up several lime mills for that matter, and the owners, the Uberoi Hotel, said no. They can wait, but they would not like to part on this beautiful surface, the lime surface, which appeared on all the other buildings, like the guest rooms. Yatin, could you please show the other slides? Yeah, like this is, for instance, this one. Now this is the swimming pool. More towards the north, you would see the guest rooms. And would you believe that you see those two dome-like structures on steps? Well, that's the entire nucleus of the project. 30 feet deep down, spectral design. Dr. P.C. Jain spectral designed the whole nucleus of the project, which was the pump room, which were the electric rooms, which was the energy rooms, everything, and the water filtered, everything went, and all the computers, everything was fixed deep inside the ground. And the two round structures which you see are the two jacuzzis. What a job was done by all the architects, by Dr. Jain's team, by this thing. Can you believe that this was the whole, and this also building was absolutely an RCC building, 35 feet deep into the ground. Next slide. Yeah, this is another, in the middle, what you see is an old temple. This is the only old building retained. And we had to really redo it, but all lime plaster and lime wash. The difference being that the fort was left for oxidation, and the other buildings were left for lime wash. And you see there's a sundial there, and just slightly ahead of the pool, And there's a very, very old canal, a water canal system running, which we again utilized to feed water to the various, because it's a 40-acre land. So besides mechanical and controlled watering, we made use of this old. We did not do away with it. The owners did not like to do away with it. Mr. Uberoi did not. Lime plaster is generally done in 3 layers. The first 2 layers is about 20 mm each. And each layer is given a difference of about 10. You have to do a first layer, then let it dry for 10 days, and then another layer, and then 10 days. Both those are about 20-25 mm thick. After that, the final coat is done, the 3rd layer, which is very thin and is known as araish. Now, this is the famous araish, where you mix in eggs, where you mix in gold, where you mix in jaggery to form that paste for which Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh and Gujarat are famous for. That's known as the araish finish, and that is exactly what was given to the external surfaces of the plaster itself. The 2 surfaces, the top surface remains for about a couple of years, but the bottom first 2 layers of plaster would remain for decades altogether. Nothing happens to them. There are forts which are even 300 years old, and they are still there, very much there. So this is about the lime plaster. The next comes lime terracing. Now, even the lime terracing, which is, as I said, 5 million square foot, 5 lakh square foot. The lime terracing was again, we adopted a very old traditional method that on the roofs we laid inverted pots about 8 to 10 inches in height and diameter. There were then these spalls of pots which was laid on top of that. And thereafter, surkhi, lime, jaggery, methi, a mix was made and was put above on these pots, ranging from 6 inches in the bottom to 4 inches, or that can vary from the size of the building. And that was basically to maintain a slope. This mortar was laid on the roof, and then there would be women who would be the labor women who would be given half-broken bamboos, and they would be hitting at it 8 hours a day for about 6-7 days for it to harden up. Believe me, for years and years, at least for 15 years, I know, there was not a single case of any waterproofing being required or any leakage whatsoever. Another unique thing we used was gobar, cow dung. Well, the reuses of cow dung is amazing. It's used in so many ways. I mean, we collect the cow dung and we leave it to sun, and it turns out a very hard surface. We utilize it for cooking. The women folk in the villages. And another very, very strange use, which you all may not be aware of, which we did to the outbuildings, was that the mud walls in the villages in Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, and Gujarat, they're basically mud walls. These mud walls are given a splash of given a splash of cow dung mixed with lime, and it remains there for a few days to harden up. It is such an effective material that it prevents the heat from going inside. During the winters, it maintains a moderate temperature inside. And during rains also, there's no penetration of water. This is generally redone after about 3-4 years before Diwali in villages galore, one after the other. And it has a cooling effect. It prevents the cooling from coming in. It prevents the heat from coming in. And that's it. Reuse, reuse, reuse. It's there thereafter. It's put to a lime wash is given to it. So these are the 3 traditional forms of construction that we adopted as the large villas. Besides, of course, using the traditional stones and the marbles and the jalis and so on and so forth. But that was it. Yes, Yatin. Now the other. any questions need to be asked right now or later, I'm there to answer it. Before I take up the next one.
We'll keep the questions for the end, Jaimni. While I must acknowledge the presence of V Suresh, he is also here today.
Oh, hi,
And,
Suresh.
yes, Sureshji, you want to say hello?
Yeah,
Yes.
wonderful. Jaimni and Hari and Payal, wonderful presentation going on. I like the compliment.
Absolutely.
Thank you,
Lovely.
Suresh. You're an inspiration to us.
Absolutely. And Sandeep, you want to say hello? Sandeep Talalikar, who is also a senior member of the IGBC.
Such a part of nostalgia as Mr. Uberoi speaks, because
Right.
I was part of the Uberoi group. I've spent time in the Raj.
Yeah.
and
Oh, okay.
such a,
Yes,
Right.
yes, yes.
manager of the
Wonderful.
Amar Vilas, and
Ah,
my boss, Mr. Uberoi, and I can imagine the type of decisions he had made in those days. We used
lovely.
to fondly tell him that he was the only modern day Maharaja left who was building castles while the rest of them were giving them to hotels to run. So all very
Nice.
proud of our.
Can I just intervene?
Yes, please.
True to what Sandeep said,
Yes.
I remember 1997 and Mr. Uberoi and all. I mean, the guy was amazing. I've learned so much from him. And when he was going to do the pricing of all his hotels all over the world, he had 8,000 keys. And he called all Ravi Bhutlingam and, Malarkar. Sandeep must be knowing all of them, right? Ravi Malarkar. And he said, well, gentlemen, let's do the pricing. So they said all the hotels, $80, $90, $100.
Yes,
Rambagh was selling at $80 at that time. And Mr. Uberoi says, $450 for Raj Vilas. Everyone threw a fit. They said, sir, $450? Well, he finally managed to agree at $325, and today it sells at over $1,000. So that's the vision
My God.
that Sandeep and I talk about that.
No, what was created by people like Dr. Jain and Mr. Uberoi, I'm talking about Jaimni Uberoi, for
Okay.
Mr. Biki Uberoi, has literally changed the face of tourism of India in the 80s. India actually was recognized before for very shoddy infrastructure and hospitality. Mr. Uberoi, with one stroke, changed all that. And today, you'll see Taj, ITC, all emulating the same story.
Absolutely.
Right.
100.
I'm so proud of the story that is being told today.
To the rest of you who are present here, some of you youngsters, let me tell you that Sandeep Talalikar, he is CEO of the Jackson Hospitality chain. He runs the Jackson Hotels, which is, as he will tell you very, very proudly, the first platinum rated hotel, green hotel in India.
Yeah.
Sandeep, you want to say something about your own belief in green and how Dr. Jain made that happen, while we will go back to Jaimni for the rest of his presentation after.
Yeah.
Very quickly, sir. It's very simple. When I entered the Indian ethos of hospitality, all I knew was black and red, which was profit or loss. Dr. Jain so lovingly and eloquently added the color green into my life, and I've never looked back since. And it's thanks to that teaching and learning that I'm sitting here today in between stalwarts like yourself, Doctor, and Mr. V Suresh and Jaimni Uberoi.
So true, you're saying. So
And
true.
I can say that I've actually had a cuppa of whiskey with them. They've allowed me to do so. So.
Well, he doesn't drink. To the rest of you, I must tell you, he doesn't smoke. He doesn't drink. He's a total teetotaler. But he will say that he will join and have a whiskey with us.
But I'm telling you,
More
I'm here
figuratively.
among stalwarts. So I'm really
Absolutely.
looking forward to this session.
Right, right. Wonderful. There is okay. Now I will leave the floor back again to you, Jaimni Uberoi. Thank you for giving this interregnum, because it helped us gain some rich insights from Sandeep Talalikar also, apart from Sureshji saying hello to us. Over to you back again for this. So to the rest of you, you must listen to what he has to show now. It's as fascinating and even more fascinating than what he showed us in the last 15 minutes. Over to you, Jaimni.
Yeah. Yatin, would you please run this.
Yes, please.
Okay. See, now what we are going to present is one of the first 5. We were the first, by we I mean the ICICI Bank, myself, and at that time Mr. Hariharan, Mr. V Suresh were there. The way back 2017 or 18, I guess. Yeah, I think no, it was 2017. And we were the first 5 signatories to be making a net zero building. ICICI Bank and us, we had thought of making this new training center for the ICICI Bank in Jodhpur, a remote, very hot, dry, humid place. A training center for the villagers, for the people. And we thought it should be gold or maybe platinum. But we never ever dreamt that, led by Dr. Jain, led by Mr. V Suresh, and all the information and help that we received from Mr. Hariharan, we 5 of us, Capgemini 2 projects, Reliance 1, 3, ICICI Bank 4, and Tata 5. We 5 made a pledge that we will deliver a net zero building. We all signed. Mr. Raghupati was there, and we were amongst one of the first to deliver this net zero energy building. Net zero also, we tried our best for waste. We succeeded. Water, we could not succeed, but because of the conditions of water available at Jodhpur, the desert area, but we were quite, and it's a practically nearly net zero building in totality as far as energy 100%, waste yes, and energy 100% waste yes, and water nearly there. But that's the way, and now we can begin. We can begin the slide, and I'll keep on. Yatin, can we? Hello.
Yeah, he will present. Yatin, can you present? Share screen, please.
Yeah, they are sharing, sir.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, perfect.
Got it?
Yeah.
Okay, now as you see, this is the beginning of the journey. View of the initial stage of land before starting the project. You do see it's a total barren land. This is one of the first buildings coming up in that, and the top surface is hard rock. You can definitely see the clouds, but it hardly rains in Jodhpur. The design parameters were sustainable architecture and design. Site selection was very important. Water conservation, energy, building materials and resources. By this, we mean local building materials and resources, the indoor environment quality, innovation and development. To use the building materials was something we thought of right from the beginning, because since it was a hard rock surface, whatever rock and stone, whatever rock we obtained from the excavations, we made use of it in the buildings as aggregates and made it into a stone aggregate. We use the same earth which is available there. That's why in coming slides, you'll see what a great plantations we've had. And even at every stage, we have used local materials and resources till whatever possible. The indoor environment and quality and air quality was of prime importance, and we did a lot of innovation and development too. For this, an entire environmental analysis was done. Jodhpur goes up to about 50 degrees, 48, 50 degrees in summers, and in winters it can come down to 2 and minus also. So an entire environmental analysis before the project started, this all has to go before the project started, and you have to register yourselves. We did it with the IGBC. Without that, it doesn't work. One wouldn't even get the right advice for that matter, not even to begin with. Thereafter, a wind analysis was done, because from the west and the south came the hot winds, and the north catered for the cold winds. So we had to make an entire, you see this, wind directions right from January till December. That was 2016, so it was 2017 that we signed. Thereafter, a shading analysis was done, because it is so hot that we had to shade the building. So of course, we had thick walls, stone walls, but even inside, which was the old pattern of construction. We had a veranda and we had a courtyard. We will just come down the 3D model of the building in the plan showing a shadow all around the year. And that's how we planned the classrooms and various other facilities. The solar ingress, that was very important. And there, the average solar ingress we have taken right from 100 to 5,000 plus. So that every corner, a study was made for every inch of the building in order to make a proper solar ingress analysis. The sites, now this is one part of the building. As you see, the basic amenities were provided. All the students were, this is a residential facility with sports and with the carom boards and with other dining halls. There was a proximity to the local public transport. There was electric vehicle emitting whistle. This is how one of the buildings look, part of the building looked like. This is all 100% RCC modern building, which has been done up, the external facade with stone, the local stone, which was not, of course, for excavation, but the local stone of Jodhpur. The boxed windows are of, again, Jodhpur stone. And the jali which you see on top of the boxed windows is to stop the ingress of the direct heat. And the jalis are provided of various various sorts in the building. I'll just show it to you. Even the water spouts which you see on the photograph onto the right is our stone water spouts. They're stone fins. And look at the greenery in that desert area. It's basically because of the local soil. But no, most important was the NBS, the Natural Biological Sewage System, which we'll come to later, which made a great contribution. Do you see that? There are verandas all over. Inside, there's a jali there. There's a step garden. And all the PCC tiles that you see were filled with gobar, and that was an innovative idea, and with empty plastic bottles. So wherever the cars would go, it would be paver tiles with a required strength of 300, but where the cars would not go, we use these in order to make use of gobar, and we use plastic, and they were finished at the end with a stone because we didn't want to take any chance. Outdoor lighting, pollution, all universal designs. Water conservation was very important. Water efficient plumbing fixtures was fixed all over. Rainwater harvesting, roof and non-roof. It was a unique system because we had a very hard strata of rock. We could not make, it was very difficult to be and very expensive to be making ponds deep inside the ground. So one of the consultants was our consultant from Jaipur. He came up with an innovative idea, and we mechanically dug bore wells 8 inches thick to 500 feet. And at every point were about 70 holes made. We saw to it that not a drop of water was wasted, and all the water which is collected from rainwater harvesting, from the bathrooms, from the kitchens, from car washings was all utilized besides, and we have full 100% rainwater harvesting roof and non-roof. This is the landscape design. This is the management of the irrigation system, water conservation, water metering, electric metering was a very, very important part. And at every stage, we had water metering system, and at every vantage point, we had electric metering for audit purposes, both of water and electric. You see this wastewater treatment and reuse. This is all the wastewater collected, which was taken into tanks. And then we adopted the natural biological system. From one tank, it flowed into 5 tanks with all the aggregates and so on and so forth. And the use of electricity was only 1 unit of electricity per hour. Thanks to this organization, which did it for us, that the blue water, the blue ocean water, they were absolutely great. And this is what came out. These are what, wherever you see these green plants, these are all various tanks which filtered the water and made the water, the black water, into gray, and then finally made it usable for car washing, for plantation, of course, not for drinking. That was not there. And you see at every stage, there is the water meters, and so on and so forth. All energy efficient refrigeration we use on-site, total renewable electricity that was allowed by the government of Rajasthan. 80% we did, absolutely 80%. All BLDC fans were used, total LED lighting. Okay, this is a daylight tube, and that's an HVLC fan. In the main entrance hall, we had a different sort of a jali. So whereas it could take in a lot of air, and then just this one HVLS fan did the work. The daylight tube, this is a couple of places we filtered the daylight, which are dark. We filtered like the medical room and like one more portion, two more portions. We filtered in outside light through a tube. Energy metering, there was commissioning, post-installation equipments and systems. This is the organic waste, one of the first ponds, sustainable building materials used. The indoor air quality, fresh air ventilations, daylight, how bright and beautiful it is. Even the people who are working, their efficiency increases so much. This is what come out of the green plantations that we did in the irrigation system, all thanks to the natural biological system and the natural and the local earth use. See how brilliant it's come up. And these are all the students from the villages who are working, and that's again occupation well-being facilities. There was, of course, a total tobacco control of the outdoor, indoor air quality, indoor air circulation, 100% free from plastic use.
Jaimni, can I interrupt you for a minute, if you don't mind?
Sure, should I go back?
No, not at all. Just to say that our V Suresh has to leave at 3:45. He has another important meeting.
Okay.
He just thought he will add a few words and
sure,
he will exit, and then you can continue if you don't mind. You know?
Sure, 100%.
Yes, Suresh.
Yeah, I'm so sorry, Jaimini.
Not
I had
at
to
all.
moderate a session starting in a few minutes. What a fantastic presentation of the great project of the ICICI, the training center, which has been there so beautifully brought out with all the sustainable elements being so well reflected there. And I am very impressed with that particular thing called the Rural Self-Employment Training Institute, or they call the RCT, with all the elements there. And we no wonder with all the things that you brought out, it got the platinum rating of the IGBC also, and very happy on that. And just to tell, because the larger topic is what Jaimini has told, also using traditional technology and local materials and all that. And that's an important component in our quest towards sustainable development and green building, be it on mud or lime or bamboo or various other materials, as against the very aggressive material like steel or cement or concrete or aggregator with high embodied energy. So what you require is a combination between pure traditional and pure technological, and we call as the intermediate appropriate technology. So I think Jaimini's initial presentation really brought that particular combination of not only using concrete where needed, lime subki mortars in a very nice way. Rajasthan, I do remember, where I had the greatest pleasure of working for over 35 years as part of HUTCO. There used to be a saying that not a bar of steel, not a bag of cement. So lime as well as stone, with everything, could do all the construction on the Karanja roofing and stone door frame, stone putty for etc. etc. So I think what you require is a combination of both of them. Don't swing in the other end of the pendulum. We don't want to go to the mud days. We don't want to go to the extreme concrete days. We require via media where technologies can be right. Even if it's mud, use stabilized compacted mud block. The weakness of the thing is lost out. Even if you want to use concrete, use less concrete by using filler slab roofing. Even if you want to similarly use bricks, use the rat trap bond where you use the number of bricks lower. Whatever be the technology, use good amount of opportunity by you, local materials, local construction practices, along with the latest one for structural strength or something required for building or durability, have a combination of between traditional and technological. That's all I want to say at this point of time. Otherwise, the beautiful presentation Jaimini has done. I would have loved to stay on for more time. Chandra, thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you.
And
you have to leave.
Apologies from to Jaimini for the break-in.
Thank you. Thank you.
To all of your students who are listening to this and faculty, this theme, as you know today, is about blending traditional knowledge with contemporary engineering. Correct. You heard Suresh sir say that. And I would like you to carry that message that Suresh sir has given you today and the case study and the fascinating story that our Oberoi sir is telling you all. He will continue now, and our Sureshji will be leaving now.
Thank you.
Sureshji.
Bye,
Thank you.
Suresh.
Thank you, Jaimni. All the best.
All the best. Thank
It's
you.
going on very well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Over to you.
Yes.
Back again.
Yeah. So everyone, now you see the stone, we've also used it to our own benefit, the local stone. Besides the thick walls of stone, what you see here is two sorts of stone jalis. I'll just explain it to you. First, what you had seen as stone jali in the box windows were about moderate size of holes, so that a fair amount of air could come in while the windows are open. With the jali which you see on the left-hand side is in front of the girls' dormitory, which takes in sufficient amount of wind inside, but prevents a total view, so that the ladies' dormitory, the girls' dormitory, they feel more secure. And the jali, the stone jali, is all stonework, and the stone jali on the right-hand side is at the entrance foyer, which is larger, so it can take in a greater amount of wind, and just with that one huge big fan, it was sufficient. We didn't need any air conditioning there. Down below the stone walls, and watch out, on top is an RCC roof, and in between also there are RCC columns. If you see on the left-hand side, there's a bench made. We made use of the local available stone for benches also. So wherever possible, one can make use of local materials. It gives us all the green points. It's good for nature, and that's what's used. What is available is the finest, whether it be building construction, whether it be of foodstuffs, whether it be of temperatures. Now this is a double height. Now this is another sort of ventilation provision we had made. The use of aluminum was there instead of wood or PVC. There was no use of PVC whatsoever. Jodhpur is the blue city, so we adopted a blue color. We minimized the window to wall ratio of the sun exposed sides. Now, all this furniture is babool and shisham wood, which is locally available, and the space efficient, the dining halls and all were made of aluminum. There was no use of UPVC or PVC. This is an innovative thing, a gravity light we made use of. This is all the work of our consultants, because we were given a turnkey job by ICICI Bank, and we had a lot of help from Mr. Anuj Agarwal. I mean, he's just part of us all. That's the gym cycle also produced electricity. There was a hydro energy water turbine, and accessibility ramp, the parking for the specially disabled with slots for the electric charging, bamboo furniture. This is how the building looked like. And thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I'm there to answer any questions you would like.
Thank you. Thank you, Jen. Can I request Dr. Sarika first to respond to what she has seen the two buildings?
Just now, if Yatin, you would like to run a video, you can run the video if you want.
Good. That's also a possibility. That's right. Yatin, you respond.
Right, sir. Right.
I'm telling you.
Yes, Yatin, you want to? Well, while he's setting it up, one of you can speak up. You know, one of the faculty members, anyone who wants to respond to Mr. Uberoi's presentation.
Any questions?
Yeah. So I would like to say, the way sir started with presenting the project about Raj Vilas, Uberoi Raj Vilas. So, and he explained about lime and surkhi, and how this blend of this lime surkhi plaster and the construction techniques were done in the earlier times. So I was just trying to correlate that also with many of the earlier constructions that have been done with these traditional materials, which is still very sustainable, and they are climate responsive. So more important with these traditional materials, when we try to blend them in the modern technology, is like how we can actually use these materials in the innovative way and yet be climate responsive, because we can actually reduce the load of the air conditioning and reduce the load of the air conditioning and the energy that is being used in these projects through these kind of the plasters. And as we also have been born and brought up in a home where it was a very traditional, more than 150 years old home, where we never used to have even the air conditioning at that time, because we used to feel cool over there without even high roof. There was no high roof in those houses, but the walls were made of these plasters and all. So that is how we can actually think of these materials in a more innovative way, even in the modern technology also, and then in the modern buildings also. What should be the blend and how we can learn from these traditional practices.
Dr. Sarika.
Yes, sir.
See, one very important thing is
Yes.
flow has to be maintained.
Yes.
Flow of air, that's the biggest thing. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. So
Go ahead.
like my take is like we should be able to do more research on all the traditional materials and include these things in our own curriculums also, so that and hands-on exercises and the hands-on skills are also very important, which we can actually, from these things we can make students learn. And we are actually, when I was working with one of the colleges in Rajasthan, so with there also we had actually taken up these exercises and made the students understand the skills, so that these skills can be implemented at the local level and at the residential level, so that we can reduce on the energy issues, which is very important in this current context where we are talking about climate response and climate change. And it is all needed, because if we are talking about usage of energy, so that energy is being consumed at a larger scale due to the loads of the air conditioning which we are doing, and maybe the lighting, the kind of lighting we are using in our buildings. So that is also consuming a lot of energy. And that is why we are coming up with new techniques like LEDs and like OLEDs, which is consuming less energies. And again, using the natural resources in our own buildings, and application of the solar panels, which you showed, which was again a kind of a renewable resources of energy we are using.
Khader, do you have anything to add on behalf of your students? We can't hear you, your audio. Yeah, your audio is a problem. We can't hear you too well, Khader. Okay, it's okay. Maybe you'll come back when your audio is better. Anyone else? There are no questions on the chat box. I saw some two observations on Q&A. That means someone saying hello, that's it.
Hello?
Yes, please. Yes, Khader. Yes, Khader.
It is an excellent session. So, you know, things there for our students to learn from this and to implement it regarding the net zero. What we are looking at regarding the net zero. So, there are definitely few things are there for our students, and for their projects, they must concentrate on this to get something along.
Right. Right. We can't hear you too well, but I get your point. Your students can learn from such things, and they must focus on net zero energy learning, as Mr. Uberoi said, and many others are saying, right? Anyone else who wants to say, and Sandeep Talalika, would you want to add anything at this stage now that he has presented the second building, and you are doing so much inspiring work in any case? Sandeep, yes, please speak. Your hand has gone up, Sandeep Talalika.
Yes, I want to ask Mr.
Sandeep,
Uberoi
yes,
a question, sir.
Yes, please.
Mr. Uberoi, is it economically feasible to do a Raj Vilas type of cladding in today's world?
Raj Vilas did not have cladding.
I'm sorry, I'm talking
Yeah.
about all this,
The plastering, you know,
lime,
when
lime
the
and
limestone,
using the,
and for instance, the Arish finish, is that something that
No,
Rajasthan
no.
can take, or yes?
See, it was only the obsession of Mr. P.R.S. Uberoi that brought in that building. Otherwise, it's very, very difficult as far as labor is concerned. Availability of lime, availability of
Right.
surkhi. It's very difficult. I know it was tough for us, but you know, Sandeep, you worked with Mr. Uberoi. He says, throw peanuts, you get monkeys, but you take what you want, but you give me what I want. Likewise, in a similar project, at that time, it was going on, and the Uberoi Uday Vilas, it also had some,
correct. Uday
you know, it
Vilas,
also had some distinct, and my friend Parul and
Nimish bhai.
Nilesh,
Patel.
they were the architect. And how much we both, Nilesh, Parul, of course, Parul is, I mean, Nilesh is not there anymore, but we shared.
Yes.
Yeah. We shared so much, you know.
Right.
And but again, there he wanted to create a sort of a masonry, which, well, it was so difficult, it was so expensive. But then, of course, that's how you get up. You can't look into the cost factor when you talk in terms of villases, because like you rightly said, Sandeep, there was a time when people never thought India could give these hotels. And by 98 and by 2000, when I often traveled, they said, oh, if you're from India, have you stayed more so in New York City? Have you stayed at the villases? Because if you haven't stayed at the villases, then you have not made a trip. I mean, you know, so that's the sort of way that the tourism industry was reacting.
Of course, yeah.
Right. Yeah, you're right, Sandeep. When you,
yeah. Yes. But then what I've shown in RSCT, Jodhpur project, that's all possible within what we took out that project at hardly 2,300 or 2,500 rupees a square foot maximum, or 2,700. So that's possible. But thing like Raj Vilas with Irish and with lime plaster, and with lime plaster to be done in the traditional manner, impossible. Very, very. And then a huge area like that.
Right, 5 million square feet.
After Mr. Uberoi says impossible, then I don't have to ask any more questions.
Right. Great. It's been a wonderful session. You know.
Sir, I would like to
Yatin,
announce something.
Yes.
Dr. Sarika nominated 4 students from Bhoomi University to be part of our Green Ambassador program.
Okay. Very nice.
And they will help us in our PJMT sustainability initiatives. If
Wonderful.
I can announce their names, they are Satyam Kumar from 5th semester, B Arc student, Ritika Dhariwal, 5th semester, B Arc, Rohan Kumar, 5th semester, B Arc, and Shimansh Ranjan, 5th B Design Graphic.
Lovely. Ritika Dhariwal, I know you are here. I am just now allowing you to talk. Can you say a few words on what you hope to learn from this new mission to work with us? Ritika. I have enabled, you can speak now. Ritika? No, she's not there, is it? Okay. Maybe she's not.
I would like to talk. May I say something?
Yes, please do.
You know, ever since COVID, we've been through so many sessions together, and through the Dr. Jain Foundation. May I say that I think a session like this, where a stalwart like Mr. Uberoi was part of building something that was absolutely stupendous, you know, to explain that story to everybody. I think this session has been a very impactful one, especially since it's part of the hospitality, you know, industry. And I'm saying every single student that is listening to us today should go and see what is being built by Mr. Uberoi even in the modern days, you know.
Thank you. Very modest.
Absolutely fantastic. And it brings back, like Mr. Uberoi was saying, Mr. Jaimni Uberoi was saying, the old artisans, the old. I'm telling you, there. Maybe I'm overstepping my bounds by telling you a little secret, but there was a slight accident in the Amar Vilas, and Mr. Uberoi gave us the permission to repair, part of the quadrangle. And the type of people that came from Jaipur, from Gujarat, I saw this material being mixed. I saw this material being applied. I saw those artisans using, dye, vegetable dye type of paint. It was so amazing that Mr. PRS Oberoi could revive ancient India in the modern days. I think I only hope there are many more PRS Oberois, to come, because we need such, what do I call them? Maharajas, I think, is the best word to use.
So well expressed, so well expressed.
Sorry, I just wanted to say that.
I'm so glad that one, you are present here, Sandeep, and the second, that you are sharing insights that are not, that are not known to too many people. And this also gives these students and faculty an insight into how these things can happen only if there is the right leadership. That's what I think you're saying.
Exactly.
Yes.
Today we talk about, I'm sorry, I don't mean to say negative things about it, but as we talk about Taj, Marriott, this and the other, believe me, this has nothing to do with that ethos. This has nothing to do with it. And since we are talking to at least 1,000 designers here, architects, interior designers, one must go to see a villas to understand what it's all about.
Since you were there at that time, when the idea of doing 5 million square feet came up, did not somebody tell him that this is a business plan that is too audacious to work?
Nobody tells him these things. Please understand.
Half a million square feet.
Nobody tells Mr. Oberoi.
Nothing. You're right.
You can't do that. You just go with the flow, and you realize that he can change the entire country. And it's that. But till you go through the journey with him, you will never realize what his vision is. You have to just trust him.
Sandeep is so very right there. I remember one afternoon when his son, who was the general manager of the Raj Vilas, designated general manager, had to go to some place and the aircraft was going. So Ravi Bhutlingam said that I'll drop you at Agra and then I'll proceed to Delhi. And he just says, Ravi, Vikram is not entitled. He's just a general manager right now. He cannot be in a chartered aircraft. You can be. You're the president of the company. That's it. I mean, that's the way you bring up. He says, sorry, I'm sorry to interrupt, but he's not entitled. And Vikram, take the car, take the train. You see, you got to have principles. And like Sandeep rightly said, you can't tell Mr. Uberoi. And but he doesn't care about what you spend, but you give him the desired results.
Exactly.
He's so happy, and that's what it is. I mean, that they just go back.
When you receive a pat on the back, from Mr. Uberoi, you understand.
Yeah,
you truly value it like a medal.
Absolutely.
There were very few such great men. Satish Dhawan is another such name that comes to my mind, although in a very completely different context. But anyone who has worked with such great people or who has had a brush with greatness always has turned out to be a fine human being later. In a sense, many who have worked with Dr. P.C. Jain also had the same privilege that we continue to speak about how, we want to emulate certain things that he did or said and such things. And I think Mr. Uberoi is one such person, PRS, I'm saying.
Absolutely.
And of course, yes.
And so is Jaimni Uberoi.
Right. In fact, I was speaking about 3 years ago, speaking to S. Nihal Singh, the former editor of Indian Express in 1977 and all that. He died when he was 87, a year after I met him. And I asked him, what is it that is lacking in youngsters today, or what is it that you think that they should have? He didn't even bat an eyelid. Instant, he said, idealism. He said there is a lack of idealism somewhere. And that, is something that we need to fill. We need role models, genuine role models like P.R.S. Uberoi. And of course, I mean, if it were not for people like Jaimni Uberoi who took it, he's modest today, but for him to say yes to that challenge of doing, twice over 20 mm and 20 mm of plastering, and the amount of work that he had to do back end in order to achieve that in terms of execution must have been tremendous. Yes, Sadhi.
May I just add one more sentence to what you just said, sir? And I'd like to pre-add it. Mr. Uberoi would have never hired Mr. Jaimni Uberoi if he had not, thought that he was worth it. Believe me, just to be hired,
Right.
Absolutely.
Mr. Jaimni Uberoi's worth, and
Right.
yeah, absolutely. Otherwise you think, he would hire anybody? My God, he went all around the world to hire specialized people.
You're right. You're
And
right.
that's why I'm so proud of Mr. Jaimni Uberoi.
No.
Absolutely. That's in its own ways a very rich tribute to Jaimini for the dedication and the single. Yeah, you're being modest. We'll accept that. Yeah, we'll accept that. But you must have worked really hard.
Very hard. Very. I was younger at that time,
Of course.
I was younger. I was much younger, 27 years back. And I virtually for that project worked like a project manager.
Right. Vasant Kini, I know you don't like to speak in such meetings, but I've offered you a talk option.
Yes.
If you do want to say something.
It's been fascinating, Hari. I mean, it's been fascinating. I'm not from this industry, but it's been a fascinating, to listen to this and to hear this and to see this. It's a revelation. Thank you so much, gentlemen.
Right. Radhaji, do you want to say something? I know you come from a completely different context as a scientist of water and one of the rare few scientists of water. I have given you a talk option now. I know you have listened to it carefully, right through. You have been there from the beginning, I noticed. Would you want to add something, Rahulji, to what you have heard so far today?
I have mentioned in question and answer box. There are 4 questions. If you can go through, and I would not repeat them unless you have any difficulty.
Yeah, sure.
But this is, I would have missed a lot had I not been here. Thank you, sir.
Nice, very lovely. The question to you, Jaimni Uberoi, one is at Bhulbulaya in Lucknow, a 250-year-old building has used urad dal and egg albumin for the slab of the hall, a 40 feet by 80 feet hall, he says, without beams and columns obstructing the view, therefore, in the hall. And he says, besides the use of urad dal and egg albumin, they also use jaggery and acetic acid. So his question is, does the building, such combinations in a building, actually work, sort of thing? Does the building under discussion also use egg albumin? When you did Rajvilas, did you use egg albumin? One of
See, we never
on the Irish finish, particularly.
Yeah. I'll just tell you. I'll reply to his questions. Similar halls of 40 by 80 have not been done, but the halls that we did at the Raj Vilas was about 30 by 60. But larger halls have been done using the king and the key system, the queen system of making arches and without having any columns. They just carry and at the City Palace in Jaipur, I think the hall must be 100 by 100 and that's it there. His second point about jaggery is a must, which I had also said jaggery has to be used. And yes, eggs can be used. I have used eggs, not at the Raj Vilas, but at my own house and a couple of other places. Eggs mixed with certain other ingredients, what my father had told me. And it does give a very, very fine finish and it lasts. It really lasts.
And what were the other 2 ingredients along with the egg albumin? That your father told me.
Actually, I said we've not used, but jaggery we've used, eggs we've used, their work. And as I said, much larger halls can be made without this thing by using the king and queen process of domes
Yeah,
and
his next, yeah. His
we
next
used,
question.
we used,
Yes.
we
Yes.
used powdered hay.
Ah, right. Absolutely. You're right.
Powdered
You're
hay
right.
in egg
That's also.
albumin. Albumin and hay
yeah.
Hello.
Right.
with
Right.
jaggery.
Yes, please. Yes, please. Who is this?
Any sand used in the
No.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, please. Who is this?
Khader here.
Go on. Go on, Khader.
Our vice principal.
We can hear you.
Is a want to.
Okay. What's his name?
Good evening, sir.
Sorry. You're there. Please go ahead. Speak. Yes, please.
Good evening, sir. This is Dr. P.S. Rao, Vice Principal from Jayamukhi Institute of Technological Sciences.
Good evening. Yes.
We feel proud, at the same time happy to have MOU with you, sir.
Very nice. Lovely.
So we need the same cooperation in future also, sir. Kada sir, department.
course.
So informed me your contribution to
Yes,
our
yes.
country also, sir.
Yes, yes, yes. You must attend. You must get all your students of engineering and of any other disciplines to attend each of these sessions. Today's session was as rich as any of the other sessions we have had in the past. A lot of it is available on the archives of the Prem Jain Trust. Please ask your students and your faculty to look up the Prem Jain Trust website. I'm sure Khada will help you to find it and to look at each of those presentations, including today's, right?
Sure, sir.
Yeah. So we are there, as long as you're all willing to draw from it. Yes.
Sir. Thank you, sir. Your cooperation.
Yeah. So yeah, thank you. One more question for you, Jaimni, is the last question. Any aggregates and sand? Did you use any aggregates and sand in the making of the roof slab? He wants to know, and what was the reinforcement?
See,
in the ICICI building or in the
no, which is both the ICIC and the Rajvilas. The framework was absolutely RCC. Okay, and at the ICIC we certainly used steel reinforcement and aggregates, but only as far as the structure was concerned, but not as far as the finishings, because even at ICIC the finish is all local stone masonry with pointing, gate pointing, until whatever extent possible, we made use of local materials like lime and so on and so forth. His another point was that that is Mr. Muni Raval, that fixing of the joinery. See, even that is done in a very traditional. When you are doing the masonry, you put up those
down.
You insert those iron or these aluminum plugs, and you just put it. It's all done. I mean, even if it's for that matter, Rajvilas is all curved. Curved wooden windows. Not even curved wooden. They were curved wooden windows with gold plating and what not. I mean, but it's all done and it's all lasting now. 27 years. I go there and I get such a big satisfaction. And likewise for ICIC. Yeah. I mean, it was a building at 2,700 square foot, just costing. But what I would like to tell the students, the fine tuning is very important. That's what we are eroding right now. We want to go in a rush and achieve. No, slow down, slightly slow down. Think of what you are delivering and let there be a fine tuning into that. It will make a world of a difference. Try and, you see.
Wise words. Ravalji, you have raised your hand. You want to speak? Yes, please. Ravalji, you want to speak?
No,
Ravalji, you want to respond? No.
I think all queries have been answered. Thanks a lot.
Nice. Well, we had a very, Sandeep, you were laughing away when Jaimni said that, every time he visits Rajvilas and looks at it, he feels proud or something like this. You want to add something to? Yes.
Sir, I would, I'm just saying that I completely understand the emotion that Mr. Uberoi must be feeling when he goes to the Rajvilas. It's very similar when we go back to something that we've created with so much passion after, really tenacity, hard work, sweat, blood, and the most important,
Right.
with the backing of an owner who does not mind spending as long as you deliver.
Absolutely.
Right. Absolutely. This is,
You know, Sandeep,
you know, what? Yes. Yes, yes.
No,
Yes, please.
Mr. Oberoi
Yes,
once
please.
mentioned that he hated the type of buildings that were built by the previous generation of his family.
Mm.
And you're
Mm.
talking about iconic buildings. He came at the age of 44, okay, and had a vision. And through that one vision called Rajvilas, he changed the ethos of Indian tourism. We have not looked back since.
absolutely.
And Mr. Jaimni Uberoi was the building motor of that. So,
Oh,
Right. Nice. Very nice. Elegantly put.
very well, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you,
Yeah.
Sandeep. You're
Yeah.
so
And
eloquent.
your wise words, Jaimni Uberoi, I hope stays with some of the children who are still there, that it is the fine tuning,
yes,
the
yes,
detail
yes, yes.
that is absolutely important for them to look at.
Yeah.
I'm glad you said that, and that speaks of your own experience.
Yeah.
And you know, the what I would call the insight and wisdom that one learns after so many years of work that you've had. You have worked on these things for nearly 40 to 45 years now. And of course, you had the great blessing of the wisdom that your father also gave you.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes? Yeah.
That is it. That is the underlining
Right.
factor. That's the underlining factor. That is the underlying factor. That's how you was priced.
Absolutely. Wonderful. Well, we have a lot more, and we have quite a few students here still. We have Professor Gunjan from IIM Kolkata, who is also here, and he is one of the regulars. Gunjan, do you want to say anything? Greetings from Kolkata, I suppose. And apart from that, Gunjan? Yes, you can speak.
Very
Yes.
good evening. Very good. Is I audible, sir?
Yes.
Yes, please. I can hear you. Yeah,
Sir,
we can hear
last
you.
1 hour, in fact, I'm mesmerized, and the way that sir has delivered, in fact,
Lovely.
it's invoked me, and
I just
also it's really give me the reminder how to, as a teacher, before starting my class, one has to remind our cultural and heritage. And if you are looking for a solution, you have to, I can say, our look back our root. We have to look back our root, and that is in fact
Absolutely.
the learning that I draw from sir lecture, and also as beautifully narrated by Sandeep sir in so many with additional input, that we don't have to rush for a solution, rather than we have to find what locally we can indigenous and engineer that I can say from that learning I got, sir. I'm very much thankful to the part of that talk right with this, and it's covered almost all part what sir has given the shading analysis. And one point I really want to highlight here also, that sir has given the number of jali that I witnessed in sir presentation. So that means you are opening your indoor to the outdoor, and that itself you are bringing the life to that space. So your indoor space become a livelihood with this jali what sir has given. That pipping the light is pipping the air is coming from that, and giving the view outside. And in fact, itself is the well-being that we all talk about as per the IGBC ratings and all. So I think it's well covered, sir. I got a lot insight from this talk.
Wonderful. Absolutely. You are yourself such a remarkable teacher. You're humble, and I know how much passion you dedicate to your students. Nice to hear from you. Well, we are now, 60 plus 20, 80 minutes. And Sandeep, if you don't have any last words, and if Jaimni Uberoi doesn't have anything to add, I think we should strive for a closure of this session.
Oh, yeah.
Any words from any of you? Yes, wonderful. Should we close, Jaimni?
Sure, I think so.
May I say one thing, sir?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Very quickly,
Sandeep.
I don't know how many students we interacted with today. Maybe it's 1,000. I'm not sure, but 50% of them will only earn a certificate saying they are architects. There'll be another 25% who will go to, be part of some great projects. I think only 2% of the crowd here will actually go to become stalwarts. And I wish that 2%, takes a leaf out of Mr. Jaimni Uberoi's book, your book, and the 2% grows to at least 10%. We have such a wealth of information, a story of 10,000 years in India. We just have to plug in. That's all, and we have to stop.
Wonderful.
We have to stop mocking around with all these Western ideas, too many of them, at least. I think we just have a wealth of information. Let's all become.
Very true.
Absolutely.
Very true.
Thank you.
So nice.
1,000 years
Very
of
good said.
rich history.
Dr.
Very
Hariharan,
true. Very well said.
thank you so much.
Yes.
You created the.
Thank you.
fantastic-
Thank you. Grateful to you for having the.
All the best.
And,
Goodbye,
and
everyone.
truly grateful to you, Jaimni Uberoi. Yes.
Thank you.
Goodbye. Goodbye. Goodbye to everyone. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Namaskar.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Goodbye. Goodbye, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so
Goodbye.
much.
Goodbye.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you.